RFK Jr. and Democrats clash over his vaccine history in confirmation hearing. Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s combative Senate confirmation hearing for Health Secretary erupted into fierce exchanges on Wednesday morning as Democrats confronted one of the U.S.'s most prominent vaccine skeptics, who will possibly be handed the reins of America's public health system. The Senate Finance Committee ranking member, Ron Wyden, challenged the 71-year-old Kennedy over seemingly contradictory statements, reading quotes from podcasts in which Kennedy had claimed no vaccine is safe and effective while testifying under oath that he supports vaccines. He read another quote from 2020, how Kennedy claimed he regretted vaccinating his children. All of these things cannot be true, Wyden said. So, are you lying to Congress today when you say you're pro-vaccine? Or did you lie on all those podcasts? Kennedy disputed Wyden's characterization, claiming his podcast comment was taken out of context. The host asked me, "Are there vaccines that are safe and effective?" And I said, "There are no vaccines that are safe and effective for every person," Kennedy responded. "I support the measles vaccine. I support the polio vaccine. I will do nothing as HHS Secretary to make it difficult or discourage people from taking it," Kennedy said. The Colorado Senator Michael Bennet accused Kennedy of peddling half-truths throughout his career, demanding yes or no answers about past controversial statements. When asked if he had called Lyme disease a highly likely military bioweapon, Kennedy said, "I probably did say that," although he disputed other claims. Bennet said, "Out of 330 million Americans, we're being asked to put somebody in this job who has spent 50 years of his life peddling theories that create doubt about whether things we know are safe are unsafe." Under tough questioning from the Senator Bill Cassidy, a Republican and physician, Kennedy appeared to confuse Medicare and Medicaid, the government health programs for seniors and low-income people respectively. Medicaid is not working for Americans and is not working for the target population, said Kennedy. Most people on Medicaid are not happy. The premiums are too high, the deductibles are too high, the networks are too narrow, he said. Medicare, run by the federal government, has premiums and deductibles. Most Medicaid plans, run jointly by the state and federal governments, do not have premiums and deductibles, though it is true that networks can be narrow. Kennedy then said Medicaid could be reformed with pilot programs and perhaps telemedicine, AI, and direct primary care, a doctor's office business model that operates like a subscription model. Americans don't, by and large, do not like the Obamacare. They don't like it, they don't like Medicaid, and they like Medicare, and they like private insurance, said Kennedy. They would prefer to be on private insurance. Most Americans, if they could afford it, would be on private insurance. As Health and Human Services Secretary, Kennedy would oversee everything from vaccine policy to food safety, wielding enormous influence over public health decisions affecting millions of Americans. His controversial views, including debunked claims about vaccines and autism, fluoride safety, and raw milk regulations, have put him at odds with mainstream medical consensus. Kennedy told NPR in December that as a member of the administration, he was not going to take vaccines away from anybody, but he also added he wanted people to make informed choices. In a letter to senators obtained by The Washington Post, Kennedy's cousin Caroline branded him a predator, claiming he privately vaccinated his own children while publicly stoking vaccine hesitancy among worried parents. The accusation, from a former ambassador to Australia and Japan, lands as more than 15,000 medical professionals and 75 Nobel laureates have similarly mobilized against his confirmation. Kennedy's pledge to make America healthy again through stricter regulation of food additives has found a number of allies, even as Republican senators demand clarity on his stance toward abortion rights and vaccine policy. The confirmation fight comes against a backdrop of shifting public attitudes. Polling from Gallup over the summer showed nearly a third of Republicans now view vaccines as more dangerous than the diseases they prevent, a five-fold increase since 2001. Despite the opposition, Kennedy will probably survive the hearings. The final vote is scheduled for next week. Every abortion is a tragedy, Kennedy told senators. Kennedy, who previously stated that he was in favor of abortion rights, was asked about his stance on the issue by both Republican and Democratic senators. Republican Senator James Lankford asked Kennedy whether he plans to bring back conscience protections for doctors who do not want to perform the procedure because of religious or moral beliefs. Kennedy responded by saying that forcing medical providers who believe abortion is murder to carry out the procedure doesn't make any sense. Michael Bennet, a Democratic senator, then asked Kennedy about his past comments, in which he expressed support for abortion rights and said that governments should not be involved in a woman's right to choose. Kennedy started his response by saying, "I believe every abortion is a tragedy." He later said he agreed with Trump that access to abortion should be controlled by individual states. Kennedy vowed to put his more liberal views aside, saying, "I serve at the pleasure of the president. I'm going to implement his policies." This stance drew scrutiny from Democrats, including Senator Maggie Hassan, who accused Kennedy of selling out his pro-choice values in order to secure President Trump's nomination. Senator Sanders pushes over unvaxxed onesies. Kennedy was asked by Senator Bernie Sanders of Vermont, a longtime advocate of universal health care, whether he believes the U.S. should guarantee health care to all people as a human right. He responded by saying he cannot answer the questions so simply. Kennedy posed a hypothetical situation of a 20-year cigarette smoker with lung cancer, then pondered whether that individual should have the same health care access as someone who does not smoke. The smoker, Kennedy said, would be taking from the pool, referencing general health care costs. Sanders then criticized the pharmaceutical industry, saying that in the U.S. patients pay more than people in European countries for the same drugs. He asked Kennedy if he was willing to end that absurdity. Kennedy responded, "We should end that disparity." Later, Sanders asked whether he supports baby clothes bearing anti-vaccine slogans. Some are sold by Children's Health Defense, the organization that Kennedy founded. "Are you supportive of these onesies?" Sanders asked Kennedy, showing images of them to the rest of the committee. Kennedy responded that he has no oversight of the organization and resigned from his position there. Some Republicans cheer Kennedy on. As is typical, the nature